So if your philosophy that you have, your theology, your worldview, if your worldview cannot adequately make sense of the world you can both conceive and that you actually live in and are a part of, if it is not something that can explain to both the unconscious, the unknown, and the known, then I would say that your philosophy, your theology, your worldview is actually weak. And if your philosophy and your theology bypasses certain scriptures and says, well, these don't matter, if you're talking about specifically about theology, if there are certain scriptures that your worldview, your theology cannot incorporate, then it's a very good chance that your philosophy or theology needs to be broken and rebuilt. You have created a piece of pottery that has holes, and those holes, those air pockets, need to be squished out before you put it in the kiln to dry it, to set it into motion. So, what are you willing to do if you find out that your philosophy and your theology is in fact too weak? What are you prepared to do? Most of us, when our philosophy is proven to be too weak and inadequate, we simply double down, root ourselves in like trench warfare of World War I, and like, I'm not moving. And in some respects, that can be admirable, because you're saying, this philosophy has proved useful thus far. By entering in information which I don't know if it's going to work or not is scary. It's unnerving. And it makes me feel less certain. So, what do we do? The question you must ask yourself is, do you search for comfort to be affirmed in your philosophy or theology, in your worldview, in your belief system? Or do you, in fact, search for truth, allowing others to poke, prod, dismantle, push, and question your belief systems, philosophies, worldviews, and thoughts? Or do you build a wall around them and a city around them and say, no, you can't touch my thoughts. You don't have right to touch my belief system. You cannot ask questions about my belief system. Here's my advice. The last 30 years of conscious thinking that I'm aware that I've been doing, anytime I've allowed myself to be challenged, to be punched and kicked around philosophically, and to have my worldview scrubbed, broken down, put under the microscope, ripped apart and ripped apart and ripped apart, anytime I've allowed others to do that, myself included, what I've always found is what emerges from that is a belief system that is stronger, more robust, deeper, and closer to the thing that we could approximate in calling truth. And I'm ever so grateful for those who, whether maliciously or constructively, attack my positions. I only keep the strong stuff. And so, to my enemies, you're making me more robust and you're making me stronger. And to those who are constructive, thank you for helping refine me. Proverbs tells us that a wise man will receive counsel, but a fool won't. I don't want to wind up a fool. So take what I'm saying, take the things here at Unabashedly Resolute, push and prod them and take them to their breaking points and break them. And see what you find. Be courageous and bold. Search for truth and not for comfort. This has been Wes Mullins with Unabashedly Resolute.